The prodigal son, today's gospel parable, is a very intense and elaborate story. The story of the prodigal son is something that I think every single one of us can identify with in some way, shape, or form. And in some way, shape, or form, we place ourselves somewhere among those people. Sometimes we think to ourselves that we are the prodigal son, or maybe we think our brother is, or sister, or whoever else. Sometimes we're the angry brother. Sometimes we identify ourselves with the forgiving, merciful dad. There's something in there for everyone. But as I say, it's a very complex story. And it was given to a group of people who were angry because Jesus ate with sinners. That was the whole reason that Jesus told them the story of the prodigal son, because they were like the good son that stayed home with his father. You know, these were people that presumably knew their faith. Most of them taught the faith, and yet inside they were dead because they didn't understand what God was calling them to do. And that lack of understanding was causing them to reject Jesus and his message. So Jesus talks about the son who came up to the father and says, "Give me what's coming to me. I don't want to hang around here anymore." And the father did. Well, that's a pretty generous act in and of itself. Okay, here's your half of the inheritance. See ya. I'm not happy about it, but I'll give it to you because you've asked. And he went away and blew it all. And in the process, found himself destitute. So destitute that he turned to the only job that he could find, and that was caring for swine. Now, some of us might laugh about that. Pig farmer, ha, ha, ha. We need to understand what Jesus is saying in that gospel story. Swine, pigs, were unclean animals, and no Israelite in his right mind would be anywhere near them. And yet, that was the only job that this person could find. And if that weren't bad enough, he sat there taking care of these unclean animals that he shouldn't even be around, longing to eat their food. I mean, that's got to be pretty low, you know? When you're trying to figure out if you could maybe sneak some of the corn fobs and things that are being fed to the unclean animals. And finally, the light goes on in his head and he says, I need to return home. And I'm not worthy to return home. And so I'm going to return home because I know my Father is generous. But I know my Father is just. I've already accepted what's coming my way. He's going to throw me out. I'm not his son anymore, but maybe he'll hire me because I know that he treats all of his employees fairly and justly. And that's what he went home to. He wasn't hoping to be brought back into the family. He just wanted to eat. He wanted to have some kind of life for himself. And he was bowled away when his father accepted him back completely, unconditionally, even killed the fatted calf for him. Probably the first recording thing of Kobe beef. You know, the fatted calf, not just a regular calf, but the extra special fattened one that you save for extra special guests. Slaughtered that calf and had a party. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, the older son, who always did everything his father wanted, was furious when he came home and found out that his father accepted his brother back. Not only accepted his brother back, but killed the fatted calf. He was furious. And he was so lost in his rage that he couldn't understand his father either, or his father's generosity. Because when he took his father to task, his father said, "Don't you understand? He was lost and has come back to life. We need to celebrate. He's been found." But the oldest son was lost as well, and he went away in rage. I guess the only thing I could say about the gospel today, as if I haven't said enough, is where do you identify yourself in that story? Are you lost and need to be found? Are you nursing anger because maybe a sibling got off better than you did? Are you tired of being the merciful parent? In all of those ways, we find ourselves drifting further and have the jeopardy of being lost. Ask God to find you.